Hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Arieddin Sheik. So I'm sure you must have heard a lot of stuff about AI, all the while, I think since morning, a lot of use cases and all of this. Probably, I'm here to share a few new insights in terms of more about, not in terms of what GenAI can do, but how GenAI is different from AI. So, I mean, it's not that AI is not there, it's not that AI has been suddenly started in the last few months or years. It has been there from a very long time. And we've been using it, at least the products, the Google of the world has already started using it from a long time, and we have reaped the benefits. Okay, so before we start, a little about myself. I'm an enterprise architect myself, cloud architect. I've been an entrepreneur earlier. I've run a tech company, and then I briefly worked for a large consulting company before joining the current organization, which is Family Health Plan Insurance TPA. Right? Okay, so we are going to discuss a few things in the next 20 minutes. So one, how GenAI is different, right? So what makes GenAI so unique, and then how it drastically changed the way the products were designed or the services were delivered. In fact, we have seen that in the last 6 months, there's been tremendous products that have started coming in, right? In terms of creativity, in terms of art, in terms of content, video, a lot of stuff is happening around this area, right? And then we'll also discuss about one sample insurance case sector, probably, but that can be applied across other industries as well. Another thing, we will also discuss about how you can start actually this GenAI practice in your business, right, or in your organization. Because we hear a lot of stuff about GenAI and all of it, but then again, what is equally important is that how can we quick start this journey, right? Today, adapting to GenAI has become a necessity now. It's no more like, okay, it's not like a product you say, hey, I've bought something and then I'm done, no. So how you can imbibe, GenAI practice as a part of your business day-to-day operations, right? And then how do you make it sustainable in the long and short terms? Okay, so typically if you look at, a sample use case, let's say OCR and other technologies have been there from a long time, right? So whatever GenAI does in terms of reading documents and giving it to you today, so if I split into different parts, right? Let's say there is a document. You have a list of documents in place. Let's say I take an example of a claim document, right? So you have discharge summaries, you have diagnostic reports, you have cancelled check copies and all of it. So even we had systems earlier as well which can classify the documents to say whether it is a check copy and all of it, and then data extraction. So extraction is also happening earlier. So what actually changed here is the context part of it, which was missing in the last few years. So companies or products were very successful in doing the classification, extraction of data, but when it comes to the context, that's where we had huge challenges. Only large companies were able to do it. Let's say if you have to start off this practice and start doing something on your own, you need to have a tremendous amount of resources to do it. Or like, let's say you need to design models, train them, and then make them sustainable, have a very experienced team which has got a lot of expertise around these skills, which typically only small companies were not in a situation to afford, right? So the context part of it actually is what created the huge difference when the GenAI comes into it. Up until now, we had access only to probably, let's say, read the documents, right? But now GenAI has given us capabilities to read stuff on image. Let's say you have an image, then you can start recognizing what is, let's say, is it a human, animal, or whatever it is. And then the context of the image, the content around it is very easy now. And not just the text and image part of it, but also the video part of it. Like if you've seen the products from Google, right, like Gemini API, which they've released only for, of course, it has been there, but if you've seen the capabilities, it has capabilities to go through the entire video, and then you can get a context out of video also. Like today, if you're doing a video KYC, now whatever data we upload, okay, let's say a video is uploaded against a video KYC, you have to eyeball the video and then you have to decide, okay, whether, let's say if Arieddin is doing this KYC, then okay, Arieddin is doing it, PAN card and all of it. Now with the GenAI, with these new capabilities, we can easily see, okay, how many persons are there in the video, what the person is doing, or in fact, let's say, let's say you have a video, what is it like behind a person, or tell me the event where a person went to, let's say, a shop or a coffee shop. So all these use cases are pretty easy to, at least from a utilization standpoint, you can integrate all these services directly into a product, right? So the old approach typically, was the standard approach. I mean, not necessarily it applies to all, but it applies to 85% or 80% use cases, where first you develop a model and then you train a model. So when I say train, probably you will have to, let's say if you're working on a OCR, right? So you have to start training on thousands of images, and then you integrate this in your system. On day one, you hardly get 60, 70%, and it takes like at least another 3 to 6 months to refine it to make 80, 90%. So historically, this is how mostly we used to work around AI related use cases. But with the new tools that are available now, especially related to Gen AI, you can straight away start using it. In most cases, you have LLMs available specific to use cases. You have models available on medical use cases. You have models available on insurance use case. On, let's say, you're working on banks. Like for banks, there are specific models built on to extract data from your financial statements and all of it. So these models actually help you to integrate things not in months, in fact, in days and weeks, right? Another critical aspect is, earlier we used to require a lot of, again I said, the expertise required is on a very high side. You need skilled resources to perform all of this, and only large companies were able to do it who have huge budgets. But if you look at now, you just need to understand how what the product is capable of. It's like basically once you know how the product can be used, like if you're constructing a building, if the designer knows what a product can do, all you have to figure out is where to put it, right? So with minimal timeline, probably let's say less than 2 to 3 weeks, because the developer, if you look at from a technical standpoint, they only have to know how to integrate APIs, which any typical developer today has, right? So as long as the developer is skilled in integrating APIs, they are ready to actually start integrating these products into your services or into your products, right? So I'll just take a simple use case. Let's say you take a claims process. I've tried to make it as short as possible because we're all aware, most of us must be aware of this. So user basically a user, I say either from a cashless, if it is a hospital, or if it is reimbursement, if you are giving a front-end forms, they enter data like name, UHID, whatever. If there is auto-populated, some part of it gets auto-populated, right? And then you upload documents, and then it goes to insurance companies or TPS. And then what they do is typically they enter all the bills first. So whatever data they don't have, unstructured data, the bills and pharmacy bills, all of it, they enter into it. And then data is obviously system validates with the policy conditions, tariff, and all of it. And then if there is any query raised, query is sent. And then if there are any notifications sent, that are sent, right? So post that, and then dispersal happens. And whatever data you entered in terms of bills and all of it, you use it for your analysis. Let's say room rent analysis, billing analysis. A lot of data this can be used for, mostly for underwriting, for subsequent renewals and all of it, right? Now, this is what has been happening from a very, very long time, right? Now, how the ecosystem gets changed now, right? A simple, people, ask me all the times like, where do we start, right? Okay, now we know that the product has capabilities to say, read data from text, read the context, which is now that earlier, let's say if you have a huge legal document, you had OCR to easily actually convert the whole document into text. But now we have capabilities to ask the model saying that, hey, please tell me what are the clauses in the contract for canceling this, or what are the possible risks that are associated there, or so you can basically interact with documents and text around it. So that's what is possible with the current new gen APIs. Few of the APIs that I've mentioned here are that AWS recognition. You have Textract API to primarily extract the data, a Bedrock API to basically interact with it, and these services have been launched in India also now. So far, we had some challenges, integrating this. We work very closely with AWS. In fact, we were one of the first companies where AWS has actually done a GenAI EBA workshop with us. Recently, they have launched Bedrock in India, so we can start using these services. And we have equivalent services available, not just AWS, but even Google has got a good set of APIs or products available for the integrations. Now here the use cases are, so wherever we have data entry first and then attaching document. Historically, we've been doing the same thing. You enter the whole form and then you upload document. Now how GenAI changes this whole thing is, you start with uploading document now. Okay, so first step, it checks, so since you can extract data from it and you are in actually better position to get the context from it. Now earlier you have to train the models and all of it. Now actually you have ready-made models available, or even if you have to train it, it will not take months. It will only hardly take weeks mostly, right? I mean, if you're really training a model for like 2 to 3 weeks, you will actually have it working at approximately 95-96% of accuracy. And we have seen this. Now, first user will upload the document. Now the system can automatically capture data, everything directly from the claim document, or let's say hospital info, doctor name, and all of it, right? And then you have, whatever is missing, they enter it. Now what you can do is, now up until now you were only trusting whatever user is entering. Let's say user says, I've entered, I've attached discharge summary, I've attached cancel check, I've attached my pharmacy bill and all of it. Now you assume that, okay, whatever he's entering, whatever he's uploading is a pharmacy bill. Only when an adjudicator sees or a biller sees the particular document, then it gets validated. And we've also seen that, from an insurance industry standpoint, one of the concerns from a user is that companies raise a lot of queries, right? Imagine hospitals also has this challenge because let's say the time of discharge, they submit all the documents and then we raise a query and then it takes further, hospital might need it again some time and then they respond back. So, and then it comes to the queue. So, we have seen that 30% to 40% is what typically the queries, it means like out of 100 requests we are receiving, 40 requests are getting processed twice. So one, it's a challenge from think about the customer experience, right? Say if I've compiled all the set of documents, I've submitted, and after 2-3 days, I was told that, hey, you have missed document. Then I will feel I should have been told first already, or so all these things will come up, right? And also there is a reprocessing happening, which is a cost for insurance companies or TPAs also, right? So now at the time of document itself, we can use like the couple of these services available, which is your recognition API or equivalent Azure or Google APIs to check whether the document is available or not. Probably we can say something like, hey, we find the cancel check is missing. Since the claim is more than 1 lakh, we want the cancel check, right? So probably it is missing. So we can give all these prompts so we can stop user from even submitting the documents directly, right? So this further reduces the probability of query. So imagine like we say to user, hey, we find that, discharge, we are not able to find discharge summary. Are you sure you have attached it, right? So these kind of prompts and nudges will help actually, get better quality of data and reduce the reprocessing in terms of claims. And then the second part of it now when it comes to, again, the previous approach was that you enter that, you do a data entry of all bills and then you enter adjudicated information and all of that. Now with the new tools available, and the APIs actually have very good capabilities to get context. So when I take context information, you can straight away ask the API, upload a document and ask, what is the hospital name? What is the date of admission? So you don't have to write a lot of code and do all of it. So the context is actually very well understood. So you can typically, converse with the API in a normal English, and then you get responses back. And all of this happens asynchronously at scale. So you don't have to worry about, how the system is going to work if I have huge volume, right? And then, so this will also reduce your data entry and efforts in it. And one of the challenges we have seen is, in fact, we also face this. When you have a bill which has got like 80-90 items, right? And then pharmacy bill which has got like 30-40 or maybe let's say 100 items, identifying enemies manually also becomes a challenge because I don't think unless you have an intelligent system, you can do a data entry of all 100 line items because it is humanly not possible to do the data entry. And again, you miss out enemies and all of it. So this will allow us, give us those capabilities to, capture all the line items and identify enemies in it. So this will also help us in reduce those, risk and then probably identify items which are not enemies and we don't have to pay additional money to the claimant. And also tariff SOC validations and then benefit plans. I've seen insurance companies started, of course, due to the nature of the global trends, new kinds of plans are coming into picture, which even the current systems may not support validation of all the rules, right? There might be some new, benefit that has been listed in the policy document, which may not be possible to incorporate in the system on day one. So there is some level of manual validation. So all such cases can be actually easily managed with GenAI. So you don't have to, because when a benefit plan is configured in a core system, it has hundreds of fields and it has so many rules that we have to validate. So GenAI actually will simplify your validation of all these rules, at least make sure that all the validations are checked and we can validate the data. And also post-processing, again, up until now, we only have access to data what is entered by our billing team or a doctor at the time of processing a claim. So with, again, these capsules, now that you have access to large data sets, right, you will have access to everything that is there in the claim documents, like your diagnosis info, bills, history, and everything. So you can run your deep analysis in terms of how this can be done. And actually, we have also seen this helping us identify those fraudulent cases also easily, because you can now cross-reference data across your multiple data sets. Let's say agents, all claims coming in from same agent, let's say how are they coming in, or only serial number is getting matched. And you also know whether this document is changed by some online tool, because as a naked eye we may not know, okay, if I'm changing let's say 0, probably I must have changed something and changed the invoice number to 1. Probably a naked eye will be very difficult to understand, but tools have capabilities to understand that how the image is positioned at, let's say wherever I'm changing will also come to know that, okay, system can actually identify those cases. So these are the couple of we believe not just in the insurance industry, GenAI will bring a lot more innovation in terms of new products that are already in the market. So wherever especially the interaction is in the documents, till now we don't know what is there inside the documents, but GenAI will help the products or the companies unlock what else is there in the document, so that they can directly integrate this in the workflow. So we will see a lot of products now coming in now, and we have to make sure that we also adapt to all of this. Now the next question is, now that we know all the, we know all of this because we have seen ChatGPT, we have used ChatGPT for multiple cases, and then we know that it works tremendously. Now the question is, how do we start, right? It all boils down to, because unless or until you adapt to GenAI, or companies used AI in 1 or 2 areas, or maybe if you have a good practice like in your IT teams, probably you can use it for multiple places. But now time has come for companies to start GenAI practice, and if you don't start it, then you will definitely be left behind, because you will have, because this is imagine this power is available with everyone. Now earlier only large companies has access to it. Now a fresher who is just out of college sitting in his dorm also has access to all the tools what as an organization we have, right? And there is no capex involved in it. It's all API driven, and anyone can easily start learning and integrating it. So the best way to start is identify cases, use cases, because wherever you have documents, images, videos, or whatever areas you have where, let's say there is a data entry happening on something, or someone is viewing a document looking into it, right? Let's say we were working on a case for an adjudicator. Let's say if I have a particular diagnosis, let's say if it is fever, we have a checklist. So adjudicators have a checklist saying that first check the fever, 2 your white blood cells count, and all of it. Till now, doctor will see our DMS, open the document, see all this data, and then they do it. Now we can actually show all the parameters. Let's say if it is fever, check for if it is fever, check for your temperature, white blood cells count, all of this. Bring it from across the claim and show it in one particular area. Then adjudicator can probably go to those places and then find it. So finding information across documents. Let's say it's a 100-page document. Doctor has to go through all pages to see where is this, because he will not know if it is in 5th page or a 6th page, right? So now with these tools available, you can actually pinpoint what is the information and where is it. Let's say if it is there in 16th page, probably somewhere in the corner you can highlight it. So all these things are possible. Now how do you start it? First, identify areas where you have documents in place, or wherever you are processing with a document. It can be a PDF, image, even the videos also. In fact, not only videos, audios also you can do it, because if you have a contact center, let's say, happening, and then you want to run it through analysis and see how how much time it is taking, what is it the customers are asking, you can look for all those trends now very easily. I would suggest small companies especially, or if you have a small practice, let's say you have a team of, I would have at least 1 or 2 senior folks to begin with, and then probably you can start cross-train internal teams, but 1, 2 folks primarily, maybe you can send them to training, or probably subscribe to work with partners and see how you can do it. Another way is to initially identify 1, 2 use cases. Identify 1, 2 small use cases. In this case, we have chosen this document submission as a use case. So, document identification as a use case, right? Now you can take up small use cases, because if you look at a complex use case, it will take a lot of time, then you may not be able to achieve it in, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks in the initial days. So take up small something, and then, in our case, what we do is every day, 6 to 7 p.m., first we made it mandatory, now we made it optional because everyone is doing it. Have at least let's say you have a team of 20 developers, ask them to choose one particular area in their application where they are using this document, and see, all you have to do is wherever you have doc upload in the bottom, just bring it to the top. So UI level, it's a small change, there is no change, and then extract data and doing it. Same thing with audios and other stuff. And another ways is if you're already on AWS, Azure or GCP, the partners actually, there are partners who are, they're very much interested to work closely with you. They will work with you, with the teams, and then they will also help you build use cases. And this is all funded by these companies. Amazon runs some campaigns where they will fund a huge amount depending on how your budgets are, but it's not that you have to invest a lot of money initially. The learning curve is very fast, and then the kind of investments required to kickstart this in the organization is also not so high. So you can actually easily afford it and make it sustainable, because it's not that, okay, we did 1-2 use cases and then we forget about GenAI. We have to continuously innovate and ensure that, okay, we are integrating different components that are available in our products or services. One, it will bring a lot of efficiency in your operations because a lot of manual efforts are gone. To the customer experience. Imagine, this is one area where everyone is struggling now because anything happens, how it snowballs into internet, right? So with this, I welcome you all to actually embrace the GenAI and leverage it to your businesses and build competing products in the market.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions, ladies and gentlemen? We can take one question.
Yeah.
Thank you. So how do you really think GenAI can help in, I would say, recommending a particular health product based on a person's demographics, health, and other persona and aspects? Because generally what we hear about, I'm not saying GenAI in particular, but generally we talk about variables, getting data from variables and helping predict what kind of health condition he's going through and accordingly recommending a health product. But apart from that, which are the other areas where GenAI can be practically put to use, for recommending health products?
Yeah, see, what you're asking is in terms of one, if I split this question into 2 parts, right? One is getting the data, and then 2 is the prediction part of it, right? Prediction part of it, we already have it, right? So it's been there, it's there as a product, it's there as a services available in all, cloud service providers. So prediction engines are already there. So GenAI actually will help you elevate the customer experience. Let's say now you're running, let's say you have your core systems, let's say product recommendation you're referring to, right? The way the questions are asked naturally, right? You can run a chatbot seamlessly and with natural conversation language, and you can integrate with multiple products. Earlier you had to code everything. Now let's say it was all about if customer says yes, then do this. So you had to draw entire workflow and do it. Now with GenAI you don't have to do it. Actually it makes a lot easier. Now the customer has to, earlier you used to send customer in a standard journey. If he comes out, then again you will have to repeat the whole case. But GenAI you don't have to do it because it understands the context part of it. So it will automatically start journey from there. Let's say it will understand that you are looking for maybe a health product, right? Automatically it will take user to that journey, and it can interact with multiple internal products that you have in terms of cost, your analysis in terms of, let's say you take age, and then gender and then profession and all of this, right? So all this data can be real-time sent and then do it faster. So you can do it more naturally, the language part of it, the conversation, because you have seen ChatGPT and all of it. So one, it will look very natural and you will not miss out the context. Earlier, a lot of effort has to be put by developer to develop all these things. Now it is faster. Let's say the earlier approach took you 2 months of time, you can do it in like 3 weeks now, or maybe 2 weeks. So that's the advantage. Sorry.
Thank you. Can we have a mic over there, please? We can take one last question.
Hey, hello. My question is about the data. Like we are talking about GenAI and it's doing really well. But when it comes to the data, so for example, if customer is uploading all the documents, but the quality is not good, so we still need to have a team who can manually check each and every document, whether we can feed this data to the model or not. So how to solve the problem? Like we are losing the accuracy because of GenAI model is not correct or the data is not correct. Still we need to do a manual checking, right?
Yeah. So, okay, that's an interesting case because we also receive we receive around like 12 lakh documents in a year from different sources, from either from hospitals or from reimbursement. So, so when you refer documents from a hospital or from a user or in general you are referring to, right?
Yeah, in general, it can be a receipt of a bill, or it can be a like a user identification, any card,
Right.
anything. Yeah.
So what happens there is when you actually capture those documents, right? Because we have the same problem. From hospitals, historically, they use good scanners because they know their claims will reject if they don't scan things properly. They know very clearly how to send. They have a format. They will put everything in order and everything. But for reimbursement cases is where actually the problem is, because they take with their mobile. Sometimes they may use an iPhone, or sometimes they might use an either low-end phone, and then that's where the problem. Now, when you actually scan these images, you can use the recognition API to see whether it is worth, whether you can accept it or not. Let's say now, earlier you were not doing the check. We used to collect all 10 screenshots and then used to send it and then run the model. Now with this recognition API, it's very, very cheap. You can, you can easily afford it. Now you have to do is, first you take the image, see if it is legible. If it is not legible, then tell the user then and there, hey, the resolution is not good, the quality is not good, please do it properly. So these are small interventions. While this will not solve the problem of scanning and all, because again, even Textract requires images to be of good quality to do it, while you might have different products. Product one might do a better job when your scanning quality is less, but that problem has to be solved at scanning level. So these are few solutions that you can integrate. So first thing is, first, if you can understand all the products that are available as a part of, because as part of GenAI, it's not 1, 2, you have like at least 30, 40 services available across different ecosystem. Once you know what each service does, then map it to your job. So that's why I said we need to study our process, then map the services, how do you use it. This is where the partners will help us. While we may not know that, okay, we have to use this service unless since I know this about this service, I'm telling you. If I don't know such a thing exists, it will be hard. So that's why we initially work with respective cloud partners. They are more than willing to support us, AWS, Google, GCP, anyone, and then take those benefits. So they will help us at least initially 2, 3 use cases, tell us, okay, this is how you can solve it. Because it's a matter of using APIs. Anyone can use it. Right. I hope I answered your question.